show. Step off.
Come on, won't you say it loud? Ayo, we gon' turn this out. Tom Clock's main event. Dropkick now and Powerbomb. Ayo, bro, let's bring this on. Hey, hey, what is up? Oh, captain, my captain, show the stuff. Power slammer, suplex 2. Hot garbage is just for you. Big breaker, cut a code red. Figure 4, hot times ahead. Since 2014, it's on. It's a 10 count, but stand up strong. Hey kid, no DQ, strong style. Chop, this is how it do. Tom Clock's main event. Tom Clock's main event. Tom Clock's main event. Tom Clock's main event.
Hey, what's up, kids? Welcome back to the program. Tom Clark here with you. We're live on a Friday. It is June 28th, 2024. You know what that means. July 4th is just around the corner. Will Smith's about to blow up some aliens. It's going to be a grand old time. What was the president's name? I just did that on the 6M. I can't remember. Anyway, he's going to make the speech. He's going to fire up the troops. It's going to be awesome. We'll be there. We'll be ready. Most of you are thinking, isn't this pro wrestling? What's this clown doing? Look, don't call names. Have fun. That's what we're here to do today, kids. Thanks again for tuning in, folks. If you are just watching us here for the first time, I'm Tom. What's up? This is the main event. Been going strong since 2014. 10 years, baby. You believe that? Oh, man, still kicking. I look good, don't I? I'm going to tell you something, man. I'm in my prime. Don't be hating. Don't be doubting me, man. I'm just getting fired up. Are you kidding me? There's a whole lot of places you could be right now, but you've chosen to come and hang out with me today, and I appreciate that. Welcome again to the show. We're going to get to your comments here in very short order. We got a big show today. We're going to review AEW Forbidden Door. If you like talk about some AEW and New Japan, you're in the right place, buddy, because you're about to get some hardcore. Smash the like button while you're here, kids. You know I don't ask a whole lot of you, okay? I don't even ask for Christmas cards, man. Not even a tin of cookies for the holiday, okay? But if you will, smash the like button. It means loads to me. It'll make my guests happy. It'll just set us off on the right path. You like this shirt? Let me tell you something I've discovered about the red Spider-Man shirt. I had this thing years ago, right? And the freaking spider is crooked. This one's crooked too. Don't ask me what happened. I really have no freaking clue. I think it's the way the things are made. How do these t-shirt manufacturers not know that the spider is effing crooked? Are you kidding me? But I promise you it is. And you can't really tell because I've like straightened myself up. I try to look good. I got the green screen behind me here at the office finally. So you notice I don't have all the weird glitching in and out of the headphones, but I do have that. So as you can see, the lighting, she continues to be somewhat of a chore. But we will get it figured out, I promise you. And before we start saying hello, we're going to bring our guests on. First, you know this gentleman from the Wrestling Geeks Alliance podcast, Mr. Christopher Patton is back to the show. Chris, welcome back, my friend. How are you? And I got you muted. Let's start that again. Chris, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Tom. Man, when you talk about shirts and misprints, I had this Deftones shirt that was supposed to say original style in high school, and I wore it forever, and someone pointed out that it said original style.
What?
So it actually was missing a letter.
Oh, Lord.
That's my fun misprint t-shirt story.
That's great. Is that one of those that would be worth some money if it was like brand new out the box?
Maybe. I don't know. It's still in my drawer. Maybe I should investigate on eBay for Hot Topic Deftones misprints from, let's say, circa 2005.
Or Facebook Marketplace if you're that's the next to the flea market, in my opinion. I mean, look, whatever works, man. I guess whatever works. Let's bring our second guest on here today. If you're a pro wrestling fan here in the Carolinas, you know Mr. Brino Royce. Brino, it's been a hot minute since we've had you on the show, dude.
Man, too long.
I know, right?
And I'm gonna tell you, like, I don't get to catch the show like right at 4 all the time, so I ain't never heard the intro until just now.
Good, right?
And that sample, like the same one they used in Rebirth of Slick, that's hot.
Isn't it? Hot. Yeah. I've got the guys, he goes by Mr. Math or Dogman Ruckus. And he does good work, man. And basically I threw a whole bunch of keywords and phrases at him that I used during the show in like pro wrestling terms. And the first version he gave me was nothing wrong with it, but it just didn't have enough pep for me. So I'm like, I gave it back to him, and man, that second version was hot. And I'm like, I don't care if anybody else doesn't like it. I like it. That's all that matters. So I think it's pretty cool. But hey,
Yes,
man, welcome
sir.
back to the show. Thanks again for coming on, dude. How you doing? All right?
Thank you. Look, it's been tough. We are I'm right now working on pretty much just polishing my game as much as I can.
There you go.
Got a lot of like promising opportunities coming up.
Awesome.
So I'm just trying to be and look TV ready right now. It's a lot of hard work going on.
Oh, no, I understand. Yeah. And look, kids, if anybody out there is watching today, if you will, please follow Mr. Royce on all the socials, and we'll give these gentlemen a chance at the end of the show to plug everywhere they are. And I'm always a big supporter of local independent pro wrestling. I know Chris has attended his fair share of shows, I'm sure. And, as we've always said, we had JD Drake as part of the company I was with for a long time. It's actually where he got his break. And at the curtain call of the show, he would get on the mic and say, everybody you're seeing on TV right now, at one point or another, more than likely has come through a small building like this. So, the guys you're watching tonight, you may see them in a year or two on TV. So it's important to support the talent, man. So
Absolutely.
I'm a big believer in that. Well, kids, let's say some hellos. And kids, by the way, Chris and Brino, here are the kids. And we're going to start off with Eric Jackson's in the house. Good to see you, my friend. Ray all day.
There we go.
See that? Ray, you tell them where you got that all day name. Okay. You got it right here, baby. Because I name people. It's the habit. I don't know why I do. Jeff, Peter, what's up, my friend? Good to see you. Sugar Shane Odom. See there? Sandy in Germany doesn't get a nickname. He's just Sandy in Germany. That's what I've always called him. Guten Tag to you, my friend. Good to see everybody here. Please, kids, if you will, smash the like button. Do me another favor. Share the feed everywhere you can. That'll mean loads to me as well. Let's help promote the show. And remember, BOINK, boinkstudios.com. You'll find links to everybody there. And I'm going to put Brino's links up on the website now after today. So if you're ever visiting, you can go check him out as well. Wherever he is on the socials, you'll be able to find him. And Chris is there too. So, guys, we're going to go ahead and get this thing kicked off. And you know what we're here for today. We are here for Forbidden Door. And, we don't have to spend a whole lot of time on this, but the AEW company as a whole, the ratings have not been awesome. And if you followed any kind of that information or that news coming along, people who want this company to fail couldn't be happier because people are effing weird. I don't know. But folks who want all pro wrestling to succeed, they're just trying to weather the storm. So Sunday's card is going to be big, guys. There is so much talent on this card. I mean, right out the gate, Brino, as a worker, man. I mean, what's your, before we really dive in, what's your overall thoughts on this company? I mean, we always say, well, it's another place for the boys and girls to work, which is 100% true.
Yep.
What's your take on this company? It's right. What's your take on this company to this point so far?
It's really weird to me for people to criticize the company as hard as they do, as young as it is. So it's really weird for me. I'm like, they're like 5-6 years old. Like, who gives a damn? Like,
yeah.
Especially when like the other like huge company, they're just now getting in trouble for catching up for horrible stuff that they've been doing like behind the scenes. So to me, as long as things are clean behind the scenes and better behind the scenes, the product can be fixed. I'm thinking about like what kind of environment would I have to go and work in?
That's a good point. Yeah. And Chris, to Brino's point, the mess that other company has had, it's debatable if it's cleaned up. I don't know. We don't have to get into it, but like, to the point of, as fans, we want AEW to be as good as it can. I mean, right out the gate today, Chris, what is it? Do you think that, are they missing? We've often said they're missing that locker room leader. Do you think they're missing an Undertaker? They're missing this guy needs to grab hold of things and run it. What do you think they're missing in that company?
That's such a hard thing to say, not being in the locker room, right? Like there may be people there that are that locker room leader. I think the main thing that they've been missing is they got hit with the injury bug pretty hard with Adam Cole. That derailed the storyline. You have Kenny Omega out, which I think derailed a big storyline as well. So they've been kind of booking, I don't want to say necessarily on the fly, but taking their lumps as they go would be a better way to put it. They just got MJF back. think that will go a long way. And we'll see. As far as the ratings go, it's kind of hard to know what that means, right? Like, it was down this week without the lead-in of Big Bang Theory, and people were all over that. Like, that actually matters. I think people that like wrestling are going to stick around and watch wrestling outside of your 5-minute lead-in. But yeah, I don't know. It's the beginning of summer, right? And I would think the majority of their audience are young adults, let's say 18 to 25 in college, or like at the older age of high school. Probably just a little bit of that, going out and doing other things during the week would be my best guess, or summer jobs or whatever. And we're also on such an antiquated system with the Nielsen House ratings, like who gets chosen as a Nielsen House versus who doesn't. And I think people consume media a lot different. I mean, the only thing to really worry about is what's the TV contract look like. And if they get paid, they get paid. I think that money is, they just didn't re-up that NBA contract for TNT and TBS, right? Or I can't remember which one with Shaq and Charles that they just didn't re-up. So there's going to be more money to spread around there as they picked up some NFL and college football games. That's really what it comes down to. And that's kind of been Tony Khan's go-to, is like the ratings are there. They're, the quarters tell us kind of what we need to know about who we need to push or what direction we need to go in. But the one constant that's been throughout AEW is they'll have like something good cooking, like with MJF, or like with Kenny Omega when he was the title collector, and or headed into Forbidden Door with Bryan Danielson last year. It seems like they'll get derailed by an injury, which has been, I think, the thing that has hurt them the worst. There's definitely some questionable booking things that you can point here and there, but you can do that in any wrestling company you watch, right? Like, that's armchair booking. That's I would have done that differently, kind of stuff. But having MJF back, and you look at Will Ospreay and what he's currently doing, and clearly the most over person in that company. We'll get into the predictions later, but I think that's going to help rebound them a lot. And then when and if Kenny Omega can come back, I think that'll go a long way as well.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, that's. I don't think, first of all, it's not as dire as some people are making it out to be. When you have a guy like, again, we've talked about like Tony Schiavone and other guys in that company that have worked for WCW and who believe firmly we're nowhere near. And look, if for anybody who doesn't believe that, go watch the last year of Nitro and come back and tell me what you think. Some of the worst, I'm telling you, I lived through it in real time. Terrible. Like, And I remember this no disrespect to Jeff Jarrett, brother, but they put the title on Jarrett that last year in Nitro. And I remember telling a friend of mine, would you want to be the captain of the sinking ship? I don't know if I'd want that belt at this point. Like, don't give it to me. Give it to somebody else, So
with the Death of WCW stuff going around on Vice TV, I recently watched Before the Reset with Eric Bischoff in Russo coming back into the fold, which is the classic debut of The Wall, brother. Where the Wall is like 5 miles away, standing on top of a hotel building, and Hogan is shouting at him from the center of the ring like the Wall can hear it.
God.
Go back and watch that debut. It's good
Forgot
stuff.
all about that. And the whole new blood nonsense. They drop buckets of blood every week on TV. I'm like, this is getting more than, I don't know how much more of this I could take. Well, look, kids, we've got a lot to talk about here today. We got 13 matches. And so, just so as we're not here for 5 hours, we'll take one match at a time, but we'll try to plow through it as quickly as we can so we can get you out here and start enjoying your weekend, kids. So right out the gate, and look, this is known in no particular order. We'll see how it all plays out. The ladies are getting some good time here on this card, guys. I think we all three can agree the ladies deserve their time. They don't get enough of it, depending on what company we're talking about at any given time. But one of the matches we'll start off with today is Chris Statlander and Momo Watanabe with Stokely Hathaway versus Willow Nightingale and Tom Nakano in a tag team match. This one, Chris, I'll start with you. This is kind of all over the place. What do you think about the Statlander Stokely thing? Is it working for you? I mean, it's just like a thrown together match. What's your thoughts on this?
I mean, they're building the feud, right? So with Chris, they're going to go down the road of Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale for a little bit longer. As we talked about on the previous pay-per-view, I wasn't the biggest fan of her immediately dropping the title in the way that she did, Willow, that is. So I actually think, if we're doing a prediction right now, I would say Chris Statlander and Momo's going to end up winning this match because it's continuing the feud of Willow and Chris. But this show is a little weird. I'm going to go ahead and preface that because it is kind of send the crowd home happy a lot of times in this show, with maybe some of the exemptions being like the IWGP Championship match or some of the New Japan Strong matches because of however they're going to want to book, right? So they, like I said, we'll get into predictions later, but
sure.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do with this match. I think it'll be a really good match. It is kind of thrown together, like you said, but at least it's thrown together with people that we kind of have a story between. But the Chris Statlander, Stokely as her manager after turning on Willow, it kind of did come out of nowhere, right? So,
yeah, that's fair. And Brino, as we're talking about ladies wrestling here and stuff, I'm glad Stokely has found a spot he can work in. Sometimes I don't want to say he gets lost because he's a great talker, as you know.
Yeah.
So it's good enough spot for him to be in, but like the Statlander thing, with Willow felt weird. Like, why would you attack her after she loses? Well, shouldn't you just cost her the match? Like,
yeah.
It's stuff like that I don't understand. But as Chris said, this should be a good match. What's your thoughts overall on this in terms of, the ladies tag team wrestling? I mean, this match in particular, what do you have for me coming into this, you think?
Well, to answer that question, like immediately, I wish there were more women teams. And
Fair.
I wish there was more of a priority for there to be good women tag teams. Like the Iconics, when they hit, like that was crazy. Like they were really good, and then it wasn't just like these are girls wrestling. Like they had a thing, and it was over, and it was nice. I love Chris Statlander, love Willow, and I feel I don't really care for the match. But as long as it kind of progresses what they have going on, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I kind of the same opinion. By the way, my longtime friend / sponsor / producer of this show, Nathan Wortman, when he finds out you're an Iconics fan, it's going to make his freaking day. He's got an Iconics jacket. I'm telling you, he wore it to WrestleMania. He is obsessed with those two. Not in a creepy way. He's just a big fan. So
I always love to see it. Yeah, they were great.
I think their run in Impact was actually even better than the WWE run. Honestly, that was a really fun team. If you were watching that like 2 or 3 years ago, good stuff.
Oh, I agree. Yeah,
I really just hate seeing like good tag teams broke up, and then like I hate seeing it, and I can understand if they do something with those guys, but when they just break them up and they were really good for no reason, that hurts.
Yeah.
Well, they're teasing New Day, and I'm like, they've been together since like 2012 or 2011. Why even now? Like, there's a lot. I think they've got to be the longest running, continuously running faction of all time now.
Yeah.
I don't know if any other faction outranks them. Why break them apart? You could always do this thing where you put them separately, but say that we're still friends, we're still the New Day, but we're going to go separate. Then we'll come back for trios matches. It doesn't make any sense. To your point, Brino, if it's working, why break it? You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't get that at all.
With New Day, I mean, it could be more of like Kofi's ready to wind down, honestly.
Oh,
and then with Big E being kind of on the sidelines as far as we know still, right? It gives you a way to transition Xavier Woods, who is still a big part of that company, into something, which I would love. I love Lethal Consequences. Maybe he'll get a new tag partner, or maybe he'll do some sort of. I think it would be great as a heel. Him as like a chicken shit baby heel, he'd be great.
Jeffrey says, is that official that Big E's not coming back?
It's like not, but it don't look good.
It's been a while, right?
Yeah.
Me go back and look as a wrestler. When you see that spot where he got injured, Brando, that must have been. It's painful as a fan to watch. Like
I get mad, man. Like, and it wasn't like an accident. It was just like straight up. That's not how you throw somebody. Like,
Well,
technique just wasn't good. That made me mad.
there you go. And in the heat of the moment, guys are sweaty, and if you don't get your feet right, I get it. But like, there are some moves, especially feet overhead, you have to be sure that you're in the right spot, or you could kill somebody. Right?
Yeah, that was an Alabama slam, right? That he got hurt on.
It was supposed to be an overhead belly to belly.
It was
But
outside the ring.
When you throw anybody overhead, you want to grab as low as you can because you want their hips to be where your chest is. He grabbed him up here around his arms. There was nowhere for him to go.
That's
like if you want to like a really, really good suplex, of course you're gonna look at angle. You'll look at one who cannot be named anymore. Really great German suplexer from Canada. Like Eddie Guerrero, people like that, when they throw them up, there's always a little bit room to where they'll catch around like that lower waist, and that's where you want to grab when you're throwing somebody overhead.
I'm not trying to throw anybody on the bus, but who was it that threw him? I can't remember now.
I want to say Ridge Holland.
Yeah, it was Ridge Holland. I thought it was because like you said, he caught him so high. I thought he was going for an Alabama slam, but it's been a while since I saw that spot. I just know that it looks terrible.
Well, all the best to Big E. And look, the main part of this, if the guy's happy and he's healthy, no matter what that looks like, if they clear him and he can come back and be healthy, great. If he can, retire officially and enjoy his life and walk around and not be in pain every day, that's awesome. So whatever works for him.
To that point, though, it is a very big positive to see like how positive he is about it, and he's not just like miserable that he can't wrestle. Like he's happy about plenty of other things. I think he's just gotten engaged, maybe, or something like. So he's doing well and is happy. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And he's been great on all the commentary spots they put him on as well, like all the pre-show stuff. So I think there's always going to be a spot for Big E. Him and CM Punk together at Mania was hilarious.
Yes.
Those pre-show days. So it'd be good. In the WrestleMania, like weird pre-show they did before, like the pay-per-view before they did that. Yeah. He was really funny on that as well. So I mean, there's a lot you could do with Big E, whether it's as an agent or helping other people in the back or like an on-screen commentator. So I hope he comes back. He was getting a push finally, and it looks promising, and then he got hurt, which is very unfortunate. So wishes to him. And like you said, Brino, he's been so positive about it, and he didn't really bury anyone about the injury. And
what a pro, because that would not be me. I would be Bret Hart. Like that's it.
Oh, Bret's still talking about that Goldberg kick. And look, I'm not Bret.
I don't blame him though.
Yeah, and Goldberg is to anybody that knows him personally, they all say he's a great dude and that he's personable and a good person. And like he's now coming out and saying things like, I've apologized 1,000 times. I can't apologize anymore. I can't rewind the clock. And I'm like, it feels like he owned up to it, but at the same time, if you're Bret, I don't know. It's weird.
So
I used to pay the bills with wrestling, and now I can't anymore. So
he also is one of those people that apologizes and then goes on this documentary and says, I told him to watch the kick. Like where?
Yeah.
Where's the kick? Where's the kick coming from?
What's that mean?
What kind of kick? Like, what are we doing here?
Crazy.
So he's still, even though he's apologizing, he's one of those people that are apologizing and then also saying like, it's your fault for not being tougher is always how it comes off. So I could see Bret being like, that doesn't count as a real apology. This is the man that did eventually forgive Shawn Michaels. So I'm assuming there's still more to go with the Goldberg thing.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's not looking good. It's been a while. It's not looking good. Yeah, it's not looking good. I got us off track. That's on me. But So I'm going to put all the ladies' matches here together, and we can kind of knock them out at the same time here. Mariah May versus Saraya. This is Women's Owen Hart Cup Tournament first round match. We've got Thomas Tony Storm versus Mina Shirakawa for the AEW Women's World Championship. Mercedes Moné defending against Stephanie Vacour. This is a winner take all for TBS title and NJPW Strong Women's title. Of these ladies' matches, Brino, I'll start with you this time. First off, I think Mercedes is walking away with both belts. I don't think Tony's losing.
Me neither. I hope not. I hope not. I love her.
She's so good. And I don't know about, I think the Mariah Saraya thing could go either way. And I'm not going to say it doesn't matter because I don't like these ladies, because I do. But in the grand scheme of things, how much will it matter? I don't know. What's your most anticipated of these three if you have one?
Monet for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I hope I don't get canceled, but I hate Saraya. Like, do not care for her. Do not care for her at all.
We won't cancel you, brother.
Like, and so they ruined it for her with WWE when they gave Women's Revolution, great, whatever. I think they give her the credit that should have went to AJ Lee.
That's fair. I can't argue that.
She was the one talking. Can I say ass? Is ass okay?
Well, I mean, I'll let it go this time.
Okay, like talking her ass off, wrestling her ass off. Like, she was what they were saying Saraya was, and that like I just can't ever like. Being over is one thing, but for me, like somebody in the locker room, I don't care if you're over if I know for sure that you're not that. AJ Lee was that, and she should have got the credit for that. And Saraya has always been really boring to me.
That's fair. I remember AJ being in the ring and burning the Bellas as they were on the ramp in that promo that night.
She cooked everybody.
She did, yeah. I vividly remember that promo, and I'm like, Saraya was a baby when they put her over as Paige. She was like 19 or something. She was very young. But like, look, I'm not trying to throw shade at her. In my opinion, it has always felt as though, man, this is going to sound a certain kind of way. Sometimes it feels as though she believes she's this when everybody else kind of believes her to be this. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's okay to.
She was like the female Roman when they were trying, like when it was clear from the company that this is our girl.
Well, that's fair, yeah.
And we didn't like. That's not how we saw her.
Yeah. I like her, but I see your point, and I've always kind of felt like. And again, look, you're a wrestler. If you don't have a level of being boastful and being confident, what are you doing? So like.
Yeah,
it's fine that she has it. I'm not saying she shouldn't have it, but like, I don't know. It's interesting to me. Like, they put the title on her last year in England, but then like she didn't hold it that long, and then it's like, well, did you give it to her because she's British? Is that what we did that for? Like, we shouldn't be doing that. Like, you should give it to her because the storyline made sense to give it to her. But you know, Chris, what do you think about these matches we're talking about here? Do you have one you're looking forward to? What do you think about the whole Saraya thing?
So the celebration of Saraya, I think, goes more to the fact that she returned to WWE, right? Whereas AJ Lee has not returned to wrestling at all, and you still had all the heat with Punk up until recently. So maybe now is the time AJ Lee will get more recognized in her role, and that also ties into Rock's production company having his hands all over that Page film as well. So we'll see. I would assume with Punk being back that AJ Lee will start getting more credit in WWE, but I could be wrong on that. As far as Saraya in 2024, after all of her injuries, having this match as just a hometown crowd person, I could care less if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
But you know. I don't really have an affinity for Paige like that, so I guess that's more on me. Toni Storm, I originally, when she first started this gimmick, Tom, I hated it because it was more like a kind of the craziness of Marilyn Monroe, like kind of what you would expect for the end of Marilyn Monroe's career, was more of where the character went, and then she dialed it into something else, which I've really, really enjoyed since then. I think we talked about that on the last show. I don't think it's the time to take the title off of her. Continue to run with it, and they're building the Mina and that kind of the breakup of that group in general due to jealousy, which I think is fun. And it's a good way that you can kind of I think you can get Toni Storm over as an actual babyface, which they've kind of been in a weird spot with for a while. What was the last match, for instance? I'm slipping on the name from the last pay-per-view.
That she
defended her title, and the opponent she went against came back from like
Serena Deeb.
Yes. So like that's such a babyface promo. She's out there pouring her heart out about all the health issues that she's overcome to come back, and she's and the crowd is just turned completely against it because Toni Storm is like one of the most over people on that roster. But they are still kind of booking her as a heel, which is weird. And this might be the way to get them out of that hole a little bit by this group turning on her. So
I think AEW would depend on what their goals are. I feel like they need more characters, because when you get when you don't have enough characters, and then one of your coolest characters just happens to be a heel, just like you were saying, it puts them in that weird spot, and it's not their fault because they are doing their job very well. But it's if there are no babyface alternatives to that appeal, then that forces your heel to have to kind of work weird. It's uncomfortable for sure. Yeah,
I mean, and to your point, look, if any WWE fans are out there going, "Yeah, you better believe that's why they're." Because characters look, Dusty Rhodes was a character. Nikita Koloff was a character. There was a reason NWA was so much fun to watch, because they had straight wrestling, but they also had characters you could fall in love with. Matt MTA, even though the word character may not, look at him. He just, you know what I mean? He exuded confidence and swagger and personality, and he was a character. I mean, you don't have to be dialed up to 11 all the time like The Rock. I mean, you could be somewhere in between, but part of the criticism this company's gotten over the past couple of years, guys, is that it's just straight up great wrestling matches, but no one that they're really getting behind. And, maybe Orange is the best example of somebody that they have that's homegrown and a really fun character, but, are they doing enough with him? There was Darby, and then I don't know, and, to Brino's point, you have to have characters. You have to, larger than life is an important thing in this business. It can't just be, no disrespect to Dean Malenko, because I love Dean Malenko, but if you had 10 matches of Dean Malenko versus Dean Malenko, amazing matches, but what'd we do? What'd we accomplish? So you have to have that character part of this, man. It's a balance, isn't it? Being able to find that.
Absolutely. And that's pretty much been my hardest, I guess the biggest revelation I've had. And I got a whole bunch better after I realized it, that I was very mat-based, technical-based, for a very, very, very long time. And there wasn't much character into it. And then it took me, far too many matches to realize, hey, they don't give a damn if my double leg takedown is clean or not. It's not about that, But I've been able to work with a lot of vets and a lot of just, genuinely just excellent people at the business, and they've been kind of turning me around, and I find a balance between okay, now I'm gonna do some Bryan Danielson, some Zack Sabre Jr. stuff. Now I'm gonna go over here and be Muhammad Ali for a second. You gotta have both.
Yeah, gotta have both for sure. So Tina or Marie, excuse me, had made the point here that 4 women's matches, which is a breath of fresh air. You couldn't be more right about that. We're all about it, especially if they're booked correctly. Listen, kids, for everybody making comments, I'm putting you up on the screen as we go. Folks, smash the like button for me if you would. It means loads to me. Thank you very much. Please be sure to share the show. BoinkStudios.com is where you can find us. BOINK, BoinkStudios.com. You'll find out links to all the podcasts there, social media, and a lot more. So please go follow and check us out. Check us out on the YouTube as well at Boink Studios. follow today, if you will, you'll get brand new episodes. And plus, of course, if you subscribe on all the major podcast platforms, you get a cookie. I mean, what else could you ask for, man? Are you kidding?
And who made the comment about the women's matches?
That was right here. Boom.
Okay, yeah, I agree a whole bunch with that. And that's why I was saying earlier that I wish there was more priority into not only giving them the time, but how are we presenting that time? Is this a team that's been working up to this? Is this like, because I feel like one of the most criminally underrated women ever are like Naomi from WWE, from Impact. She's athletic. She can do a bunch of stuff, but you can't name me one feud she's had that just captivated you. And that's not her fault.
No.
Like, what's her character? Like, what's the deal? Where does she come from? What does she like? What does she want? What's going on with her? And like, what do we know about her past that she's super athletic?
Yeah. I mean, you know, the test of a good TV show or good movie. Well, I say TV show maybe first. What's this about? Like, that's, for me, that's the test. What is this about? If I can't answer that question after the first episode, then I don't know what I'm watching. Like, I need to know right? I need to know what this is about. So if you tell me this is going to be a great feud, all right, let me watch. What's it about? Well, he doesn't like him. I need more than that. You got to give me something a little bit more than that. Well, he believes he's better, and he came back from injury, and this guy was not. Now you're giving me something. Now you're layering on a little bit more, like the Osprey and MJF thing. This thing is going to keep getting layered, like, you know, and don't have him touch right now. You know what I mean? Let this thing stew for a good long time. It's an example of it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the ladies' matches on the card for sure. Let's start talking about some of the guys here. And you know, we use the word throwaway matches. Look, it's New Japan and it's AEW. They're trying to get as many people on the card as possible. It's 13 matches, kids. And I'm okay with that. I've heard people having, you know, heartburn over, hey, how come the Blackpool Combat Club worked, you know, LIJ on Dynamite? I'm like, because he's working Naito for the title. What do you mean? Why, you know, like, I'm not dumb. I know why they worked LIJ. What are we talking about? Stuff like that makes me nuts. But we've got LIJ. This is Yota Tsuji, Teton, and Hiromu Takahashi versus the Lucha Bros. Chris, this match is going to be freaking insane. Like 100 miles an hour. I think it's going to be really fun. What do you think about this one?
That's going to be an incredible match. I'm assuming Lucha Brothers go over on that one, but I
would assume.
Golly, that's going to be a crazy match. You're going to see Phoenix is going to be all over the place. You can almost guarantee that. But I'm looking forward to it. That's one that I definitely have highlighted for potential match stealer of the night, because I think it being, you know, 3v3, a lot of people might sleep on it. That is one thing I will say about the Forbidden Door show, is it leans more into the New Japan format of matches. So you're going to see lots of multi-man matches. So if you're not into that, this might not necessarily be your type of pay-per-view. But it's cool to see LIJ with Naito kind of in a high spot on this show. We've been talking about this, we've had 2 Forbidden Doors so far, right? Has it been 2? This is the first time, right? This is his first foray.
Yeah.
And it's for the IWGP Championship. So that, I mean, it's just cool to see them. To give a little bit of credit to the people you were talking about, they haven't done a great job of presenting what LIJ is. On Dynamite. So as an average American viewer that hasn't really, and those do exist, like in the AEW mythos, it's like, well, no, that we know everybody, but that's not necessarily the case, especially with LIJ having so many member changes, and also there's various versions of LIJ, whether you're in Mexico or not. So that kind of changes a bit. So a little bit of kind of explaining that a little better might have cured some of what you were talking about, Tom.
And Brino, to the point of this match, I don't know how familiar you are with the New Japan guys, or if you follow them all that much. Yota Tsuji is a world champion waiting to happen. I freaking love this guy. He's so good.
I agree.
That smile, like, what's his gimmick? It's a smile. And you're like, okay. But then you see him do it, and you're like, all right, this could be deeply unsettling like a horror movie, or it could just be a good dude, but I don't know which one, right? I can't put him over enough. This match is going to be lights out great. Marie just said it best. This is a special attraction pay-per-view. It's a good way to put it. Bang bang matches everywhere. What's your thoughts on this? And do you like being part of those kind of matches where it's like 4-on-4, 3-on-3, where everybody, for lack of a better term, gets their stuff in? Do you like being a part of things like that?
Absolutely not. I was
No?
just saying like 2 days ago, I hate doing multi-man matches.
Oh, okay.
For me, I just see that as like extra pairs of feet and hands that might fall on me or hurt me, or I don't 1-on-1 or 2-on-2, and I don't really like tagging.
No?
But
Wow.
I mean, it just requires for everybody in there, referee included, to be on top of the game and know exactly what they're doing. And if you don't have chemistry, like you just don't.
So the concept of, I don't want to call it a night off, but you're not having to do as much. You kind of be on the apron, work the crowd. So that's not really something you prefer to do. You prefer to actually be in the ring 1-on-1, yeah?
So, like, interestingly enough, I thought not being the legal man in the tag match was a night off, and then I got like chewed out for it later by like somebody on the phone, and they were like, "No, you need to be doing this. You need to be doing that." Like, so that's also a full-time job, and depending on the tenure of like just all the combatants in the ring, like if it happens to be your like most veteran guy is on the apron, like he might be controlling the entire match from the apron. Like
That's fair.
it's a lot of moving parts, and it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's fun when it's done right, but if it's not done right, like anything short of done right, and I'm ready to go.
It's one of the most infamous clips. I say infamous, but it's a good way. Famous clips of all time is that WWE match back in the day where it's like stunner, rock bottom, Booker T's kick, RVD splash, Guerrero, boom, 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 boom. But it's been replayed a million times. It's been replayed once. Like it's awesome to pop the fans. But I like hearing the other side of that too. Especially the comment you made about it's more hands and feet that could land on me. I mentioned Drake earlier. I'll do it again real quick. The chops, he's known for the chops, right? And like backstage after a show, he's absolutely from here to here is basically blistered. And he's kind of out of breath, right? But I said, "How you feeling?" He goes, "I'm great, brother." He said, he said, "Look," he said, "You see all that?" He said, "I didn't bump. I didn't have to land on my back or land on my head." He said, "I feel great." And I'm like, that's a good point. Like,
yes, sir.
Right? Like you're not, yes, you're going through it here, but you're not putting it's like a car crash hitting the mat over and over and over and over again. So yeah, I can appreciate that. So let's talk about Konosuke Takeshita.
Yes.
Ladder match for the AEW TNT Championship. Takeshita, Jack Perry, Dante Martin, Leo Rush, freaking Leo Rush, man, El Phantasmo, and freaking Mark Briscoe. I said this last week. If you don't like Mark Briscoe, there's absolutely something wrong with you, and you shouldn't be watching pro wrestling in any form or fashion. This may outdo the last match, Brino, that we just talked about. What do you think about this?
Yeah.
What do you think about this ladder match?
Is Leo Rush doing his new stuff?
He's doing yeah, it's sort of a variation of it. He's got the same gear on and everything that he had in New Japan. Okay.
Yeah, I like all those guys. Takeshita for sure. I want him to be a star more quickly. Like I need him to be somebody's top guy. Like right now, I love him. Leo Rush, like that's probably like the fastest human on the planet. Crazy.
He's so good.
So quick. Who else did you say?
El Phantasmo, Mark Briscoe, Jack Perry, Dante Martin. God, it's gonna be good.
Mark Briscoe is like one of my favorite people now.
He's so good. Man.
So like for me, talking and speaking more naturally has been a challenge in a lot of my promos. But I go and watch people like Mark Briscoe, like people who are just authentic, and his stuff never, ever, ever, ever has any traces of being rehearsed or like you see that video and you know that guy really talks like that.
Yeah,
So I've
yeah.
been watching a lot of his stuff to kind of get more comfortable with what I'm doing.
Cool. Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah,
good.
but
Oh, and
that match
Phantasmo
for
I
sure.
like as well.
I got Takeshita to win. That's my guy. I'm sorry.
I think it'd be between him and Perry. Chris,
Yeah.
the temptation to put this on Perry, Chris, for the sake of the elite is going to be big. You think they're going to go that route?
Unfortunately, I do think they might go that route. But yeah, this should be yeah, because it's one of those things where they're going to try to stack the titles, and then obviously they're building up to what blood and guts, I guess, would be the thing. Where you're going to have the tag title stacked, and then Okada having a title, and that's where I think they're going with it. If I had to take a guess, I am much like Brino. I would prefer Takeshita to get the win here. I think that he's shown that he can put on great matches, and he has continuously had a bunch of losses, kind of to get other people over at the moment. Where it'd be great with him have a good run with the TNT Championship for a while. I think helpful, but I don't think they're going to go that route. I really do think they might go that Jack Perry route. Mark Briscoe is the one who actually deserves it, though, with these promos he's had for the past 2 or 3 weeks with him and Kyle O'Reilly and Orange Cassidy. Those have been great. Mark Briscoe is always incredible, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be there. There is a lot of very fast people in this match with Phantasmo,
Yeah,
Dante,
I
and
think
Leo.
like the hardest part is going to be trying to figure out like where to look.
Yeah, sorry, I was just reading some dumb comment. This person will be getting kicked out of this chat real quick. So yeah, it's coming like in 90 seconds. So
I wish I could see it.
I ain't putting up nonsense on my show. They can do that on somebody else's show. Sorry, pal. So ladder matches, Brino. You're a ladder match connoisseur. I know you love it. Climbing that ladder, rung by run to get that belt. Have you been in? How many have you been in, or have you?
None.
No.
Ever. So I'm not like the weapons guy, like at all. At all. I've been hit with a chair once, and that was like a year and a half ago, and that was it. Like I'm gonna leave that to the professionals who are, well versed in ladders and tables and that type of thing. That's not me. I'm not that guy. I'm not him.
Did you get your hands up, Brino, on the chair shot?
Nah, it was to the back. So
okay.
It was really weird, and it wasn't even a no DQ match, but I was wrestling the Barbarian, which was a really cool one-on-one experience. And everybody, like, if you know about Barb, you know Barb is like, he's older now, but he's like still real long and he's tonguing, so he's gonna be strong for a long time.
Yeah.
And I had powdered out, and I was like crawling on the floor, and then I remember just feeling like cold, and it was like one of those really big like plastic chairs, and I'm like, Barb, it's not even a no DQ match, homie, like what you doing? And then he hit me with a cane, and then he hit me with like a walker, and the referee did nothing, as you know to do, because it's Barb, and so that was my first and last time ever doing weapons.
Oh man, we had Barb in for a show years ago, and it was like an NWA Legends thing we had put together. And so he's asking us who's going over in his match. And I'm like, you are. And he's like, he's basically, you know how he talks. Well, brother, I don't have to. And I'm like, no, that we're not. What? You're a legend. You're not going to lose tonight. Are you? He was totally fine with it. And I'm like, no, not in our ring. You're not. Like,
see, that's how you know Barb is a good guy.
Yeah, because he'll work. Yeah, he'll do the job. Sugar Shane says, I guess Brino will not be seeing thumbtacks in his future.
Nah. No,
Oh,
when I can pay my bills with wrestling, I'll be more open to what I'm asked to do at work. But like on the indie level, it is priority that you stay healthy, that you like, until you do get the contract, and then you can go do all this crazy stuff. But I can't be hurt.
No, and I won't mention names, but when I see dudes hitting themselves over each other's heads with light bulbs in a little podunk town somewhere, I'm thinking, what'd you get tonight? $10? You're bleeding to death. What'd you do this for? Right?
I
You didn't
got
get
a
famous.
family. I can't.
Yeah, dude, I just don't get that. I mean,
Did you guys both just pull a Jim Ross and I got a family?
It's good. He's got a mom and a daddy. That's good. Yeah, look, I'm here for this. I think this match is going to be awesome. Speaking of awesome,
Yes.
Let's talk about the learning. I can't even do it. The learning tree. This Chris Jericho stuff, man. I don't look. Judging from reactions on Dynamite, I believe it or not, maybe I'll be wrong. It actually feels like this is starting to work, and we've had to listen to him scream right for weeks. The high guys nonsense as loud as he can. And I'm like, turn the volume down on one of my screens. Like, I can't stand it. You know, but that reaction Wednesday, I'm like, oh my God, I think he's getting him. Like, Chris, Brino, Brino, I'll start with you. Is it possible that we didn't give this guy enough credit? Like he always knew what he was doing. Is it possible, or do you think this is working?
I wouldn't say I would, I guess. The thing with Jericho is if anybody is gonna reinvent themselves and get something over, it's gonna be him. Like that's okay, I feel like being the man again. Let me make something cool, and then he'll go do it. And I feel like if you're gonna be like his age or have that many years in the business, your career, like that, the half you're in now, that pretty much is the name of the game. How can I get something new over that I don't have to bump a million times, or I don't have to do this or do that? How can I stay healthy and still do what I do and do it in a way that works for what the audience wants now? So, and I think he's like the king of doing that.
Yeah. Chris, what's your thoughts on this? He and Big Bill and Jeff Cobb are taking on Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata in a trios match. What do you think about the idea of Jericho's thing actually working now?
I mean, it's still not working for me.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's like Brian Myers did the same gimmick, the learning tree thing, and this is a different version of that. I am excited to see Big Bill more in rotation. You have gotten a lot of low-key Sammy Guevara type chants during this learning tree stuff with Big Bill and Jericho. I don't know if you guys have noticed that.
Yeah.
So, that goes back to the question of where is Sammy Guevara in all of this. That being said, I mean, the highlight for me in this match is going to be Jeff Cobb and Samoa Joe when they step across from each other in this match. Because, like, if you told me that was the match, I would actually rather see that. Just Samoa Joe and Jeff Cobb. But I like what they're doing with Hook, and I think that is actually helping Jericho's learning tree with it being paired, the Samoa Joe pairing, which we kind of called on the last prediction show. It seemed like they were going to do like the Taz Samoa Joe thing that they did in TNA, kind of like the mentor, suplex mentor, which they seem to be doing with Hook and Shibata being tossed in there as well on this show. I think is a fun trios match. I'm not a big fan of trios matches either, Brino, and I'll tell you, it's mostly because you're never going to get any kind of psychology out of the match. It's just people tagging near falls and spots here and there. So that's why most of the times I watch New Japan, those are matches that usually get skipped at 4 or 5 in the morning. When the shows are going on.
I think
there's see Hook interact with Jeff Cobb. I'm more excited about that.
Oh, he's throwing Cobb. 100%.
I'm ready to see it. I love everything about Hook, bro.
Yeah, he's good.
And then Jeff Cobb as well, because he's always been a monster. So it's just cool anytime they give him TV time for me. Like, okay, my guy's on TV.
Jeff and Joe, like Chris said, freaking great. Awesome. Jeff and Joe alone. Man, if we ever got Jeff, Joe, and Ishii in a 3-way, I think I'd just pass out. I'd be like, I don't know if I can watch this. I don't know if it's going to be freaking awesome. Like, there's something about, what was the line? Was it Big E, the big meaty man slapping meat? That, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's something about the boom, just oh my God. Like it's old school pro wrestling. Like try to take me off my feet. Good luck to you. Like, oh man, I love that stuff. Again,
Yeah,
do I
and you
want
can believe it. You can believe
yes.
it. And as an audience member, you don't have to be made to feel like a fool in order to believe it. Like they just are there and they are that big.
Yeah,
There's no
it's
trick
fair.
there.
No smoke and mirrors, right?
Yep.
To
Yeah.
quote an old Cody song. So yeah.
The creation, the suspension of disbelief is one of the most important things in wrestling. And when you have like the Joes and Jeff Cobbs of the world, they're absolutely phenomenal at that kind of thing. I don't want to meet Joe mad at me in a back alley. Put it that way. That doesn't seem like a
I
good
don't
time.
want him mad at me anywhere. I'm good. I'm good. And that's a big that's a big deal, really. And that's what I'm discussing a whole bunch with my mentors. They're always like giving me something to work on. And it's always when they see me in the ring, when they see a promo, when they see me or hear me do anything, do I look and sound like a guy that they would be scared to mess with? That's the whole point of what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, when they see you walking in the arena, are you legitimately a star and a threat, or are you just this guy takes on?
Yep.
Yeah, takes on and takes off, puts on and takes off his gimmick like he's putting on and taking off a shirt, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So to address Marie's issues just now, not issues, but questions about this match, Suzuki did challenge Jericho one-on-one, but what I have in front of me suggests that this is still, let's see, this is still a trios match. Let's see what the official site says. I got nothing from the officials. The official site's not even listing it, which is interesting to me. Not sure what's going on there. So maybe something has changed. They've not officially updated it yet, which would be odd.
You have Capital Collision for New Japan, which might be kind of an influx of AEW stars. So maybe you're getting that match there for New Japan. That's August 30th in Washington. So they could be setting the seeds for that, and maybe they'll play it out a little bit on TV. With it being called Capital Collision, it kind of sounds like maybe there would be some AEW tie-in, but I could be wrong. There's no card announced for that yet, as far as I know. And then we have G1 coming up, starting August 18th. So
it's my favorite time of year.
Yes, it's also the hardest time of year to actually cover for me.
Oh, yeah. And I get behind every year. Every year I'm behind, and I have to stay off socials, so because I don't want anything spoiled. And then I'll try to binge 3 shows at once. Man,
trying to do a tournament bracket for that, and I'm sure they do in Japan. Trying to do your fake fantasy tournament bracket like we do for March Madness for the climax would be a interesting thing. Maybe we should tackle that this year, Tom. See if we can fill out brackets.
I'm not against it. Again, next to Christmas, it's my favorite time. Freaking is. I love the G1, man. I can't help myself. Speaking of the New Japan and AEW crossover, as we're doing a lot here, of course, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy. Brino, this match is so different. But we talked about the word character with Cassidy. Cassidy can I say this in a good way. He can flip it like a switch. Like, just when you think he's going to be silly, he lays in those forearms, and you're like, "Oh my God, this is awesome." I mean, he and Sabre are going to have a banger of a match here, man.
Yes, absolutely agree. And I think Orange Cassidy does not. I think he gets too much negativity.
Yeah,
like far too much than he deserves. Like if you like everything we've been talking about and how professional wrestling is supposed to work, I think that's what he is. I think if you put Orange Cassidy in today's NXT, don't change anything, he's over. Like,
I agree.
I think he's just the type of guy that depends on what kind of crowd you're in front of. But he is like what wrestling is supposed to be. And then Zack Sabre Jr. is an absolute machine. So, and I also think they put Orange Cassidy in a lot of matches against people where you try to figure out, like, I wonder how he's going to, like, I wonder how he's gonna do it. What style he's gonna have to do. I think he can be in there with anybody.
I agree. Chris, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I agree with Brino as far as what we've seen out of Orange Cassidy, right? Like he basically had, I can't remember, was it the national title, that 180 plus day run where he was wrestling every week, putting on incredible matches. He's a guy that just finds a way, regardless of who he's working, to make the match entertaining. And that's a big thing in pro wrestling. I love Orange Cassidy. I don't know that, he's someone they should make a heavyweight champion right away or anything, but for what he's able to do on the show, he's absolutely incredible and always has been. I kind of want that heel turn that we talked about on the last pay-per-view when they were teasing the Don Callis family stuff. It'd be interesting to see what a dark Orange Cassidy would look like. So maybe we'll get that in the future. But as far as prediction goes for this match, I think this might be a win for New Japan. So Zack Sabre Jr. gets the win here because it's not going to hurt Orange Cassidy either way. And they've faced off before. We've seen this match before, right?
We have.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah, they got history. So I just saw one of the comments. Maria, I appreciate your comment very much. She said Zack Sabre should win. Orange doesn't need to win this match. Tony Khan protects him too much. Do we have thoughts on that? Do we think that, I guess she means that he is protected in terms of wins and losses. Do we feel that way about him?
I gotta agree with her, but I'm not gonna necessarily say that's a bad thing. I feel
I don't
like
either. Yeah.
as a boss, whoever your most consistent guy is, your most dependable guy is, that is the guy you want to protect. That is the guy you want to make mean something, So, and they have a lot of stars go in and out or get hurt or leave controversially. But if he's gonna be the one that's there and he's always doing what we need him to do, and I mean that's the guy you reward.
And Chris, don't you protect your core group of top guys to a certain extent?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I would almost look at this like in 80s, 90s, the way they treat Orange Cassidy like an IC champion, right? Where he is the guy they can consistently have for a second main event, regardless of whatever else happens. Because he's just very consistent. He's going to put on a good match. He is over with the crowd still. Yeah, I mean, you got to protect him to some extent, but at the same time, like he dropped the title to Moxley, right? Kind of out of nowhere. It's not like he's allergic to taking losses here and there. It's just it's coming off that kind of comment's coming off of that long title run, right? Which I thought was an absolute, probably the best title run that AEW has had. If you look at like any of their titles, as far as like run, quality of matches, the people involved in the matches, where those feuds went, he probably has had the best title run in AEW history so far.
Hard to argue that.
You're right. I think, yeah.
Hard to argue that.
So it kind of makes it very hard to say like they're protecting him when you on the other hand you get like, yeah, but he's had the best title run. That's the double-edged sword of that, right?
What would be your second best title run there? I hope you say the one I'm thinking you should say.
I mean, I think Kenny Omega's run, right?
Oh, okay. Next, what else you got? Don't hate it. Don't hate it.
I'm trying to think. I mean, Moxley's first run.
I was going to say Moxley.
I'm thinking Jade with the TNT title. Like her as an entire product was like just super believable, and I can't be mad at it. It's like, yeah, okay, Jade's doing it, and the only reason I say her is because most of all the other guys I've seen them be champion like elsewhere, but that was my first time seeing Jade and being introduced to Jade. So as somebody new, a title run like in a mod like today's time, I think that was like really well done.
I think it was really well done because we'd seen it so many other times of people trying to recreate the Goldberg-esque thing with like a Ryback or with Crimson and TNA. And I mean, there's several examples, right? And that one actually felt organic and real. And it was a really good title run. the ending is just kind of sour because
Yeah.
of the way it all went down, and now she's on another product.
Mhm.
So but that shouldn't disqualify the title run. Yeah, it's a great title run, even though a lot of those matches were, 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't matter. I mean, Goldberg had a great undefeated streak run too, with 2-3 minute matches.
So I used to I would like I said, I was like the mat guy, the workhorse guy, and I used to think every match had to be 15 minutes. But when I started like using more psychology and just get more experience, and it's like I'm tired. I don't want to be in here 15 minutes. If I can finish this before that, I'm going to. I want to go home. I want to get in the shower. Like that's what I'm thinking. Like so now I've come to start appreciating shorter matches as long as it's believable. So yeah, I agree with that.
If you guys, and I'm sure you both have, if you've ever seen George South work a match, if he's got a 10-minute match, he'll spend 5 minutes talking to the fans and jawing. And he'd tell us backstage, like, if you give me 10 minutes, I'm only going to work 5. But I'm going to spend the first 5 working that crowd to where they want to kill me. He's like, because, I'm older. I'm not going to put my body through that. And I'm like, the other guys are sitting there watching him get all this heat. And I'm like, God, this is awesome. Like, we had a lady one night get up on the ring apron, physically up, and we had to pull her down. I'm at the commentary table going, I'm yelling for someone to go get her down. She's not a plant. She was into it. And they're physically pulling. Dude, and we're like, you can stay, but you can't be doing that again. Sit down, But of course, the moment we're trying, she's finally calming down. George is in the ring and yells at her, "You got in trouble!" And there she came again. So we had to once again pull her back down. But like, work smarter, not harder, Brino. Right? Isn't that what it's all about?
Absolutely. And I just got to work George for the first time 2 weeks ago, and it was in a tag match. And I watched him do the same thing you just talked about. And like every time I get to be around guys like that, I'm like, I'm doing too much stuff in here.
Yeah.
I'm doing something.
How many mental notes did you come away with and you're remembering later on?
Look,
after having
every
seen
time
it?
I was the non-legal man, I was basically just like, okay.
Yeah, he's just so smart. He's, when you made a career working Rick and Dusty and the Road Warriors every week and Rick Steamboat, you're going to eventually get really good at what you're doing. And plus, he was one of the guys they wanted to work, him and Mike Johnson and somebody else, right? They're like, I want to work George because he made them look great. They were already great, but you know what I mean? Like
George is the man. And a lot of people, like, I would say my age, when you got a guy that much older, he kind of seems like the crazy old man and you don't take him as seriously as you should. But if you like just get past not liking the way he's saying something or like like just getting past the semantics of it and you listen to what he's saying, it will work.
It will work.
Like it's going to work because George said so.
God, he we'll be here another hour, so I'll make it quick. I got a bunch of George stories. He told us about the first time he worked the Hardys, and Matt Hardy puts him on the mat, and he tells George, he said, just stay here. And George said he laid there and goes, "Where are you going, brother?" Like he's yelling because he didn't know where he went. Matt's going up to the top to do some crazy dive. And you know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God, it's freaking awesome. So yeah.
Yeah, this George.
I'm here for that.
Like we'll be beating the hell out of you and also having a full-blown conversation with you at the same time. That's George.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, that's our crowd could hear him. You could hear him. It's And if the spot didn't work, he'd make you run it again. His son, I don't know if his son's still working. If his son do it again, I'm telling you, in front of everybody. Like this is how you learn, Talk about peeling back the curtain, kids. But it's been peeled back for years. Marie,
George made me run a spot twice.
Really? There you go. Then you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
Goof. Yeah.
That's awesome. So Marie mentioned earlier that Hechicero is injured. Have you guys heard this? Because he's still on the card against MJF, but I don't know what it's. Someone else mentioned earlier that maybe they'll fix it on Rampage and on Collision going into Sunday, and we'll find out what's happening. I don't have the latest on this. Anybody have the latest on it? I don't have it. I mean, I think they're still booked to face each other.
Yeah, I really hope he's not hurt.
There's spoilers for Collision. Nope, that was last week. Never mind. Let's see.
Interesting. Chris, while you're looking that up, let me ask you, what was your thoughts on the whole, the luchadors going full force at MJF kind of when he came back? I mean, I'm not saying, well, we need to keep him busy. Like it's cool that he's working people we've never seen him work before. I think it keeps him fresh. But like, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of backstory to this. It's just, well, let's just book MJF against these guys.
Well, I mean, the story's been all based around Will Ospreay, right? The person I actually feel bad for here is our heavyweight champion, Swerve. Honestly, as being more of the afterthought, as they seemingly are pushing towards, which is what I thought would happen: Will Ospreay versus MJF, and that seems to be coming to fruition. But as far as like Pachero, I am not going to be able to pronounce this. I always mess this up. As far as the match itself, if he's healthy, that should be a fun match. I mean, I'm assuming that MJF is going to win. This is his first real match, let's say real high-profile match since coming back. I am surprised that they use this because one of the things MJF has done in character in AEW is talk about how he's not going to wrestle anyone outside of AEW. That they need to come to the big league to wrestle him. That was like part of his character. So I'm kind of surprised this is the first opponent that they chose if they were going to do the Forbidden Door match. But outside of that, I mean, it should be a good match. I'm not seeing anything about him not being in this match.
Yeah, same. And maybe they're just saving it, or maybe he'll be there. I don't know.
At worst case scenario, you can put MJF over big by just having to beat him in like 10 seconds, right?
Oh, yeah, you could. Brino, MJF, inarguably, I'll say it bluntly, I usually say it's all subjective. Inarguably, when he's red hot, he's the best heel you have. Yep. I mean, how long do you think he's going to continue the babyface thing? Do you think it's going to involve – I think we all believe it's going to involve him turning heel on Ospreay. What's your thoughts on this?
I'm going to say I love him heel as well because, like, top to bottom, like down to the press conference, like he's dialed in, and I just appreciate that about a professional wrestler because that's pretty much kind of like what I'm trying to do with my gimmick. There's not like a over the top gimmick, like I'm a professional athlete and that's the character. So there's going to be press conferences, there's going to be like settings where I'm doing like where I'm talking and doing stuff where you wouldn't usually see a professional wrestler do it. But I think that is what kind of brings a little bit of legitimacy to it, because when you watch NBA, you do see those guys pulling up to the arena like with designer clothes on. You do like know what they're wearing. You do know what music they're listening to, and that's the appeal of the character. Like, what's he gonna say at the press conference? Like, it's not all rehearsed type thing. So it's pretty much like a fourth wall type TV character, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, he's freaking great. I love JF. He's so good.
And he's like surprisingly good as a babyface too. Like he just got it. He just got it.
This goes back to something that was said earlier where you have a heel but you don't have any kind of babyface challengers, right? That was MJF. So the fans decided to make him a babyface regardless because there was no one else cooler or anyone else that they liked more. Right now, you have someone that they like more, which is Will Ospreay, right? He's red hot. So that's why I lean towards this. That's kind of where this is going with MJF potentially turning heel. And you can carry that. You can carry that storyline for a while with him and Will Ospreay. It's just unfortunate it's coming at the expense of Swerve's title run, because I think Swerve could have had a really great title run. I would have ran that Joe match back, honestly, if it was my product and made that more high profile and not necessarily put that belt immediately on Will Ospreay. They have too many belts in this company in general, which is a whole different conversation, but this is where we're at. So I think that's the road that they're headed down.
And,
I think I agree with everything you said.
in terms of the Swerve stuff, like I was talking to Phil Lindsay, we did the 6M the other night. We're talking off mic about the Swerve stuff. He made an excellent point that, talk about how different companies work. When Kofi won the WWE title, after he lost it the way he lost it, you kind of feel like, well, they're not going to give it back to him again. When Big E lost the way he lost, yeah, that's probably it. But like when Swerve loses this belt, I don't think I'll feel like, well, he's not getting it back again. I just don't feel that way. And look, people can take that and make from it whatever they want to. I don't care. But it just doesn't feel like, well, we've got a few chosen and that's it. Like there was no guarantee Swerve was going to be able that anyone would care. Like he was always good on the indie circuit. There's no guarantee he'd get over on TV, and he freaking did. Like, twice. I mean, yeah, I love that guy. I mean, we'll get there.
You have a protection out for Swerve too, which is Hangman can show back up, right?
Yeah.
Because the story was Hangman was never going to let him win the title to begin with. And they bypassed that a little bit. So I don't know what's going on with Hangman. We haven't really heard much. As far as I know, he's healthy. He had some family stuff going on, or that was the report, right? Maybe get a show up tonight, cost Swerve the belt, and then that starts that feud, so you can move on to MJF and Will Ospreay, which it's whatever. Like I said, I think that there's other ways that you could have handled Swerve's title run. It should have been a lot bigger of a moment. I think even coming out of that pay-per-view where he won the title, it should have been a bigger moment in general. But we're past that. We are where we are. Will is the most over person in the company. MJF's coming back as one of the most over people in the company, and make sure it makes sense to go with your two big stars headed in to your next pay-per-view after Forbidden Door. So that's like I said, it's kind of where I'm leaning. I could be completely wrong. Who knows? Maybe Swerve will just win clean. That'd be awesome. But yeah, it's all signs seem to be pointing to the direction of Will versus MJF to have like the big pay-per-view match, which I think they actually do need if they are worried about ratings, having that feud with a heel MJF. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how Will Ospreay attacks that as well from a promo standpoint, because we're getting fun, I love you, brav promos.
Yeah.
And MJF is going to be more Roddy Piper in CM Punk in the way he attacks this guy versus the people Will Ospreay has had promo battles against so far, at least in AEW.
Hey, look, we're already there. We're not going in order. Strickland and Ospreay. This is, in my opinion, Strickland's not losing Sunday. I don't. And look, I get it. I'm the guy that's always preaching about don't throw cold water on the dude that's white hot. It's a dumb thing to do. I don't care what anybody says. I'm glad things worked out for Cody this year. Things could just have easily as worked out last year and still been just as big. I'm sorry. It's how I feel. It's weird making him wait another calendar year. I'm glad they finally pulled the trigger. It's a good move. But, why would you throw water on Will Ospreay, who is absolutely white hot? But, Brino, there's a way they can do that in this match and not kill this guy. I just don't want to see Swerve lose right now, right?
Absolutely. And I think Cody is the type of guy to see, I don't know if you noticed about Cody, but I know he's always expressed a desire to get into politics at some point. That's why every show Cody is out there in a 3-piece suit. He's signing every autograph. He's kissing every baby. Like, he's practicing to be Governor Rhodes right now, and I'm sure that he wouldn't mind taking that setback first to cash in a bigger favor way later. Just off the platform of, hey, I'm Cody, I've always done what you guys asked me to do. I did this, I did that. I'm out here doing this. I'm signing autographs. I'm doing radio. I'm doing TV. Throw me a bone. And I think that's the type of guy he is.
I got thoughts on Cody as a politician because I'm afraid to say I think I know perhaps what side he'd be on. So don't know if I want to see it. I'll leave it at that.
Are you scared of the giant neck tattoo? Is that what scared you off?
I I've heard too many things of. There's a reason why he doesn't talk about politics in public. There's a reason why, because like it wouldn't be good for him. So
That's
I
the
kind of,
future governor of Georgia right there.
I'm just saying, I kind of feel like I know what party he'd be, and look, everybody can vote how they want, but I'm not doing that. So
I mean, and his best friend is Triple H, and Triple H loves that guy. So
and you both know how I feel, and I know how both you feel, and this is not a political show, but
absolutely not.
yeah, well, yeah, I have. I'll put you this way: the Cody and Homelander comparisons are still in my head. I'm just saying the outfit. All right, I'm just
And
throwing
I
it
know
out there.
he'll never want to do it, but Cody would like be phenomenal.
Oh my god!
Because like when was he when he went from dashing to dashing like?
Oh, we lost you, Brino. Brino was on the verge of an excellent point, and we have lost him. We'll get him back. We'll get him back. Hey, look, when Cody went heel with Bullet Club, Chris, it was freaking awesome. Like the whole cigar nonsense and whatever, he was great.
Cody, I could definitely see turning heel in the future just because you're going to have Roman back red hot as a babyface. They're building towards that.
Yeah.
And once he runs through the secondary bloodline, who's he got? You got Cody there.
Secondary
right?
bloodline, yeah.
Secondary bloodline, man.
Yeah, you're right.
Bloodline.
Sorry about that, gentlemen. Y'all know Brino.
No worries.
Is everybody calling?
No worries. That was AEW calling. That's what it was calling Brino just now. So there you go. So Brino, you were on to a point about Cody. What did you think about him turning heel, like with the current gimmick he has and everything?
Oh yeah, like I just feel like he's the type of guy that's creative enough to care enough to want to make something good out of whatever situation they give him. And when he did the undashing and he was putting those paper bags on people's faces, like I was behind that in high school. Like I was all about that gimmick.
I don't say high school. You're making me feel so freaking old right now, dude.
And while you were gone, I just brought up that you're going to have the perfect returning babyface for him because Roman is going to have to go through the trials and tribulations of this new bloodline. And I think he's going to come back super over. So
and Roman is going to be the biggest babyface there has ever been. Like, this is, if Roman wasn't already enough of a household name now, after this babyface run, he will be. And he's already made more money than anybody's ever made wrestling. Like, it's about to be crazy.
Oh my God.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
To go back to MJF here, right? And Will Ospreay. What would you do, Tom? We kind of got what do you think they should do? You said you wanted to keep it on Swerve, but you also left it open-ended of how you would do that. And my thought is you got like 3 options, right? And AEW doesn't like to do any of these. You got the Don Callis family interfering for Will Ospreay, maybe costing him the match. You got Hangman Page costing Swerve the match. Or a time limit draw. Like those are the 3 conclusions I'd come away with without just beating Will Ospreay clean. Unless you want to have MJF hit him with a ring or something and turn heel right here. But like, how do you get out of that? Because people are going to expect this, with it being Will Ospreay, to be the 5-star Will Ospreay banger match. And you have his undefeated streak and his current title versus Swerve, which I think is what overcomplicates this problem a lot.
I don't hate the idea of time limit draw. I don't think they love the idea of a time limit draw because I think they love the idea of we need a winner, which is, they've had matches break down, but I think more often than not, their track record of having a winner is really good. But so I don't know if they'll want to do that. That would absolutely save both guys for sure, especially Will. I mean, it's hard for me to answer that because in the grand scheme of things, and I don't mean every time, but for a lot of times for both companies and often for TNA as well, like the idea of, well, that the belt has to be here. This has to be for a belt. Like it's hard to understand what they're going to do if that's not the case. Do you know what I mean? Like it almost feels like, well, we have to make this mean something. Well, let's put the belt on him. That'll mean something. I'm like, well, it doesn't have to be that way. It could just be 2 guys have a grudge. And it's I'm better than you. No, I'm better than you are. Let's prove it. Let's settle it like men or whatever. But like to me, that's the answer. Is like it depends on what they do with the title. I don't want Swerve to lose. And then plus, I know I'm not answering your question. I apologize. But Daniel Garcia's in this now too, which I got thoughts on Garcia. I don't hate the kid. First off, hate the music, hate the dance. The music, in my opinion, music is awful. It says nothing about who he is. It doesn't fit him at all. His gear, in my opinion, is not right. I've always said, man, I'm ranting. I've always felt like Garcia is this close, but there's something's not right. And I don't know what that is. But like, if you're telling me, well, he's important enough to share a ring with MJF. Okay, well then now, are you telling me you're only going to throw him in as a spoiler? What's his role? I think maybe they'll have him involved at some point, Chris. I know I'm not answering your question, but I really don't know.
Yeah, you did a long about like a politician way of not.
I was going to say it's a very political answer.
Yeah, of what you would do.
Yeah.
Same question for you, Brino. What would you do?
So I don't hate the time limit draw finish, and I would do that to set up a couple more matches. So like I would say my top favorite, like my number one favorite match to watch right now is young Kurt Hennig against Nick Bockwinkel.
Ooh.
And throughout that match, you see like Bockwinkel as the veteran heel kind of outclass and just like outsmart Kurt Hennig. And by the time it's ending, both guys are bloody. Like Bockwinkel got his ass kicked and he's in a figure four. And right as the time limit expires, like the bell rings and then he starts to tap out. So it's like, you got me, but I got the belt still. So that forces a couple more matches if we're going to do that. And I like that situation. I like that idea.
I like that idea specifically on this show because it is New Japan centric and New Japan is not scared of a time limit draw. But
far more sporty for sure.
Yeah, but you definitely have the one of the biggest matches of all time in New Japan history with Omega versus Okada went to a time limit draw, right? So I think it can be done and done well. It depends on I'm assuming they're going to do 30-minute time limits on these.
I would assume so.
But this is a heavyweight match, so that's usually a 60-minute time limit on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
This is going to be in the main event. That's
It'll be 2 a.m. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it'll be deep waters for both the watchers and the wrestlers at 12:30, 12:45 when that match is wrapping up.
I like the time limit draw. I just don't know if they like it. I more than like it, but again, I guess I'm polluting my own head with what I know this company to do in the past, and it kind of feels like, well, no, we got to have a winner, but like. I just don't know. Again, I don't know if I'd do that. Like Ospreay, listen, after Sunday, we may be going, we have to do this again. Like these two guys crushed it. And if that's the case, we absolutely need to do it, maybe best of 3. That would get us all the way to the fall, wouldn't it?
I mean, Tom, to in response to that, the actual answer is don't have this match. You could just not have this match.
That's true as well.
You know what I mean? Like
that's
if
true
you're looking
as well.
at it from a booking standpoint, why is Will Ospreay immediately going after Swerve unless he's winning this title to set up a match against MJF? Because you don't have a paper. So it's one of those things where it's like, well, if you want to protect both guys, just don't have this match. Just give them both someone else to work with.
Yeah.
Yep. This man is an excellent counterpointer up here.
I know, right? It gets you thinking. That's why I got him on. I told you, I only podcast with smart people. All right. So
I mean, because at the end of the day, when we do these podcasts, we do these reviews. We're going on what's already been booked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not how we got here. Take away how we got here, and think about the question of why are we having this match? They're both it's champion versus champion. Why are we having this match? If it's not where you're going to go anyways, and what wasn't what your plan was, and you have two champions against each other. And you're going to leave one of them out in the cold unless you do some kind of weird finish out. Why have the match to begin with?
Hey, look, to me, it's the same answer of should Superman have snapped General Zod's neck in Man of Steel? Well, Tommy didn't have a choice. Yeah, he did. Don't write that in the movie. That's your choice, right?
you
Like
go.
Superman is not a murderer. I'm not an idiot. Superman is not a murderer. Well, Tommy didn't have a choice. Yeah, he did. He's not real. Like, don't write it. That's a great point. Yeah. Yeah. So we've only got a few left, guys. So I'm going to pair these two together. The men's Owen Hart Cup tournament first round match of Danielson versus Shingo all day. That's all I'm saying. And then also Mox versus Naito for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. I don't know which match I'm looking forward to the most. I think they're both going to be different. But Brino, let me start with you. Danielson versus Shingo is going to be.
Yes.
There's so many. Oh my God, so many opportunities on this card for us to be going bravo and throwing flowers at the TV at the end of it. I love this match, man. What do you think?
Yeah, see, these matches, I don't even pick anybody because I think a lot of what AEW does and what may have to do with like the ratings and everything, they have a really, really, really small niche crowd. And those are the people who like to see like people on the mat go at it. Like they like to see wrestling, and you gotta really kind of have your eyes open to know that this wrestling isn't this wrestling, then this isn't that. But I think, well, not even I think, both of those matches are gonna be bangers, and I'm ready to see both. And I really want to see Shingo do a little bit more in front of that crowd.
Yeah. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I got Shingo winning, and you brought up Naito as well, right? I kind of lost audio for a second.
No worries.
Naito and Moxley. I got Naito winning this because I believe that's the Bryan Danielson versus Naito at Wrestle Kingdom is real. That's what I think might happen there.
Okay.
I think Naito winning as well, honestly. I've got Naito as well because, like,
I just don't want Mox to win.
No?
I do not enjoy him in the ring.
Really interesting. Why? Is it because of the
I
rough
like
and tumble?
what he is, and I respect his place in the business. For people who work that way, I just don't enjoy it.
That's fair. I mean, he does a lot of stuff outside the ring, and he'll get Raw if you want to get Raw, and he has no problem doing that. But I mean, I have a different opinion, but I can understand. I can see where you're coming from.
He is a wrestler that constantly frustrates me when you're talking about that, because he can also just straight go in the ring and have like a well-built psychological old school wrestling match, as we've seen, specifically if you go back and watch his FCW stuff. But what we have gotten as of late, let's say the past 2 years, is very much just brawler Moxley. And whether that's due to injury or just the way he wants to work or whatever, I mean, I'm not one to say, I'm not his best friend or anything, but I tend to agree with you. Not my favorite style of wrestling. And I would say overall, as I said last time we did this show, Tom, there's a little bit too much of that in general in AEW right now. Especially when you lean towards all of these dream matches setting up at Forbidden Door, which is supposed to be your 5-star bangers or your mat-based wrestling, your very technical strong style type wrestling. And then you have this oddball out with Moxley. I'm curious to see how Naito works this match. Honestly, that's going to be like, what are they going to do? That's where it's going to get. That's the most interesting part of that match is to me, how Naito is going to attack this, really, coming off an injury himself not that long ago. Are they going to kind of brawl this out? But you do have the built-in storyline of if Naito beats Moxley, he gets the IWGP Championship. Who knows? Maybe we get Bryan Danielson in the G1 and he makes a run for it, right? Like, so that if they're trying to lift each company to the highest profile, I think Bryan Danielson winning the G1 and challenging Naito, who I think is the strongest competitor they have in New Japan right now as far as like an actual heavyweight champion goes. I think that would be the route to go. If it was me, if it was my billions of dollars running either of these companies, that would probably, given this card, that's probably be what I would do.
Danielson's not in the G1 right now, and I'm really surprised by that. And I'm not really sure why he's not in it. I'd love to see something change and him as a sudden last minute entry. That'd be wonderful.
Well,
but
you
I
have
do
till
think
the 18th, right? So Did they announce the full bracket?
I think they've announced A and B. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but doesn't mean someone can't fall out injured or they have it's smoke and mirrors again, that word, but like, pull somebody out. I don't know.
You could have Naito win the G1 and then he chooses his opponent at Wrestle Kingdom.
And you can, yeah. And look, the fact that Naito's still walking is a testament to modern medicine. And it could just be duct tape and popsicle sticks that are holding that guy together. But like, again, Brino, you've seen this dude dropped on his head multiple times. I mean, him and Kota Ibushi haven't killed each other yet. We're all grateful for that. And now the men are dead.
Ibushi right now. Who does he work for?
So he's injured.
He signs like a lifetime. Well, I want to say it's like a lifetime contract with New Japan, but both of his ankles are messed up, and he also had some complications with a surgery as well as his contract in New Japan, where we don't know what status he is currently sitting at as far as a performer goes. Okay. With Naito, though, he got concussed the last G1 and had 2 absolutely incredible matches, hurt and all. So I actually expect this to be match of the night. Hopefully they don't kill each other.
Hey, look, concussion for Naito is a Tuesday. You know what I mean? It's nothing.
Yeah.
If someone's going to draw Moxley into what I would want to see out of John Moxley, I think Naito is a good person to put in that spot. So,
I agree. And like to your point earlier, I do remember him having like really good matches with Ospreay. So it's just I don't like that I can't tell whether he gives a damn that night or not. I don't like that.
Who, Naito? Is that what we're talking about?
Oh, Mox versus
Mox.
Naito.
Oh, I got you.
Like, I can't tell whether or not he's gonna come in act right, and I don't like that.
I don't know for sure, but it kind of feels like winning the IWGP title was something on his wish list of things he'd love to do. He's done it. Is that all he needed? Maybe. So maybe he's like, hey, put me over to win. I'll drop it back to him in 2 months. Maybe that's what was said.
I mean, I guess the question comes from the side of New Japan at this point, right? Like, if you're Tanahashi, you're part of the booking committee, you're looking at what this has done for your in-arena buys, where, like, you're looking at how many ticket sales you have at Tokyo Dome. Did Moxley move that number over Naito? The answer to that is probably no. I would say, behind, if we're going over the top 3 of the past 10 years in Japan, like draw-wise, you're looking at, Tanahashi, Okada, and Naito. So that would be why I wouldn't be surprised if the title changes more than anything else. It was fun that Moxley was there. He probably did help. But if Naito is back, they're going to want whoever has that title in the G1. That is just something they have done for the past 5 years, because it gives you if you need a way to book out of something or whatever throughout the G1, if the champion wins, they get to pick their opponent. So that's the other reason, because we're, like I said, August 18th, we're right into G1, and there's nothing in between there pay-per-view wise for either company where Moxley could drop this title. And usually the champion would be part of G1, and I do not see John Moxley being part of G1.
He's not, no. Also, well, again,
point was made.
Yeah. Wish list thing for Mox was the G1, and he did it. So, yeah. Well, we'll see how it plays out. We got one more match, kids, and we're coming up on 2 hours here. We're going to take it home in a few minutes here. The Elite. That's Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. All right. And Kazuchika Okada versus Scissor Ace is what they're calling him. And this, of course, is Bowens, Caster, and Tanahashi. This is going to be straight up fun. I don't think anything serious is going to be played out here, and it probably shouldn't be. I love Okada. In my opinion, Okada, I'm sorry, I know I'm biased, I guess, but I still believe Okada is pound for pound the best in the world. That's how I feel. And I know he's
on the same page.
Right. He's not had many bangers since he got to AEW, but not having known the man personally, I would dare say if you could ask him, how you feeling? I bet he'd go, I feel great. My back feels good. My legs feel good. You know what I mean? Like I think he helped carry that other company for so long with Tana. Let the guy make some money. I think that's maybe what he's doing.
Cena right there.
right? He's just making some money. Any thoughts on this one, Brino? I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a fun match. What do you think about it?
Like you were saying, I'm a big Okada guy. So I just hope whatever they do, he looks good in the end. and and it's really important for me now, and it's cool that WWE is starting to do it now. Also, is they're bringing guys in from these like Japanese companies, and they're not absolutely burying them.
Yeah.
And they're talking about where they wrestled and the championships they won, and like, so it's like, oh, okay, we can talk about wrestling around the whole world now, and we're not the only thing that exists. So anytime that happens in any company, I'm just really happy about it.
Same.
And I really hope like Okada just looks strong and gets everything he needs to get us out of the match. I don't really care for the Young Bucks.
No.
And it's more of a behind the scenes thing than in the ring.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's fair. They've rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
It's a little conflict of interest going on.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
Not a big Generation Me fan I see out there.
Oh, I was. I love those guys, but I don't know. So like with the last thing that kind of like just did the last nail was when they were like running like victory laps or something after the Punk was gone. And to me, as a business like minded person, I'm like, your money just left. Like, what the hell are you happy about? Like,
that's fair. Yeah, that's
like,
fair.
You're happy because you won a backstage beef where the job is to make sure everybody back there has a job and can feed their families and stuff. That was just dumb to me.
And you know all that, Brino, plus the showing the footage stuff.
Yeah,
you can't pay this off. He's not coming back. So like, if you did this for Jack Perry's sake, it worked for 5 minutes, but now you're not doing it anymore. So what was the point of doing any of it?
And I would never want footage of me getting choked out, like publicized. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, the person that looked the strongest in that entire footage was Samoa Joe telling everyone to calm down, which checks out, honestly.
Yeah.
Tony Khan, like, it wasn't a good look for anybody.
No, not for any of them. You're right. None of them came out looking good for that. And like,
I think the thing with AEW, like, the thing that has made them is also what breaks them. Because if now that Cody's over in WWE now, I see a lot of people saying AEW talks about WWE too much. That's what founded them. Cody breaking the throne, and like that's what built that company.
Yeah, I mean, I would also go on a limb and say what built that company is Omega versus Okada, and that's actually what built that company, because I don't know. I mean, I know people knew who the Bucks were and they liked the Bucks, PWG in Japan, and Cody was here and he was working Ring of Honor and NWA and all of that stuff. But like the real hype around all of that was after their first Okada Omega match. So
yeah, absolutely. Not just like the from the in-ring standpoint, but the kind of, why are we making this company a thing? What chips do we have on our shoulders that are like contributing to us making this company?
Yep. So that's always been where I landed on like who the real Cinderella of the AEW story was and who gave them the confidence. I mean, because like to all accounts, Kenny was offered a very lucrative deal to come into that Royal Rumble right after his Wrestle Kingdom, or I guess it wasn't Wrestle Kingdom, it was the pay-per-view after that where he dropped the belt. Was definitely offered a lot of money to go there and was one of the big startups there. And he kind of gets forgotten about in this entire shuffle because you had Cody, kind of the upfront guy, which goes into the politician type thing like you're talking about, which I don't think was bad at all. You have Jericho coming in and you obviously have the Bucks, but at the end of the day, like the excitement around Bullet Club, where it really picked up here in the US, was definitely the Omega Okada match. People like Stone Cold Steve Austin coming out and saying it's one of the best matches they ever saw carried a lot of weight. And made people care about New Japan in a way that they hadn't in quite some time, at least in the United States. From me having to cover that entire G1 and Wrestle Kingdom leading up to it, I could tell you the vibe. There weren't people out here being like, man, if the Bucks, they just went to to WWE, that would be amazing. Even before that company started, those weren't conversations that were happening on a regular basis, on a week to week basis. And even Cody with the 10 pounds of gold stuff, like while it was a niche audience and we did talk about it and love talking about it because it was a really good run between Ring of Honor and then WA stuff. The thing that really set that company in motion was Kenny Omega having that match, getting all the publicity to the Bullet Club, and then the follow-up of everyone's like, we have to watch these matches. Because one of those matches during this time of Cody's illustrious run in New Japan, he was wrestling like Billy Gunn at Wrestle Kingdom. Right. So
wow, yeah. I
keep
forgot
that
about
in
that.
mind of where Cody was on the pecking order in New Japan. Nothing against Cody. I love Cody, but I think that the impact of Kenny Omega in general to the start of AEW continually gets looked over. And speaking of which, Okada is probably going to hit Tanahashi with a spinning tombstone, Rainmaker, pin, 1, 2, 3. Tanahashi will have no problem laying down for Okada. And that's going to be the end of your match. And like I said, we're on bated breath. We're waiting for the match we've been waiting for the 5 years since AEW started, which is Okada versus Omega again, right? That's where we're at.
And spend every marketing dollar you have when it gets here. Hype it on every newspaper, every radio station, every TV channel, fly it overhead by airplanes with the banners behind it. I mean, whatever you got to do, because that will bring people to the table. I really believe it will.
And where's Motor City Machine Guns? I'm going to bring
Where
this up
are
every
they?
time we talk. The Young Bucks are out here being very annoying, need to be put in their place.
Yeah.
By Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. Probably my favorite feud the Bucks have ever had, Motor City Machine Guns versus Generation Me. If you're an old school TNA fan, go check that out. Great series of matches.
Max and Jeremy.
But
oh my God, I've forgotten their working names. Yeah, it's terrible. And then the whole kerfluffle with Booker backstage. We can save that for another time. But yeah,
Hey, what did y'all think about the Major Brothers?
Yeah.
As a child, I loved them. Like,
really?
Yeah. That was right before they got turned into the Edge Heads. But
yeah.
Those were my guys as a kid. I loved them.
Yeah. Man, they're so entertaining in general. Kurt Hawkins is great in the ring, by the way. I think he's very underrated in general. Zack Ryder or Matt Cardona, super nice guy. Met him at the last GCW show that came through here. But yes, same way. The Edgeheads was great, though. That was a fun little part of Edge's history. And with Edge being in AEW, maybe we can get the Edgeheads back. Maybe we'll see the Edgeheads show up. We got Gangrel. I didn't expect that.
We gotta get it over on Twitter.
Yeah,
that's how you do it.
I like them both in the ring. I think they're both really good, but they both always in that gimmick look like they belonged in Nickelback. That's just how they look to me. You know what I mean? I'm not here for Nickelback, so I'm just saying. But no, for its time, it was awesome. I like both those guys. Kids, I know we talked about predictions. We kind of hit it as we went. I got a hard out in about 5 to 10, so we got to wrap this sucker up. The floor is open, kids. Whoever's left, if you got anything you want to talk about, if it's other than pro wrestling, take the next 5 or so and hit us with it. I want to thank everybody for watching here today. Thanks for subscribing and downloading and sharing on your collective channels. I appreciate it very much. And we'll be telling our guests here, thank you very much. So while we're waiting for whoever wants to say, oh, there's Ray. I'm about to cover you up. Yeah, well, he started this with Brino done been covered up. Look here. Tribe or Beastie Boys and part 2 ODB or Redman. And if Adam Cole invited you to the grand opening of the Adam Cole car wash where you got your car washed, well, that would play, and waxed and detailed, and he wanted to give the same to one of your friends, could I have, and later wanted to get grilled chicken with veggies and coffee plus a side of apple pie, could I join as well? This is for all of you. I don't know if I can, in all due fairness, answer Tribe or BC. That's really, really hard for me because I love Tribe and I love BCs as well. I may have to take.
Brino's gonna go Tribe. ODB,
Yeah.
and he can come and get some chicken with us.
There you go. It's,
I don't
you
know
know,
about chicken and coffee in the same meal though. I don't know.
that's a Waffle House meal right there, brother. That's Waffle House. Chicken and hot
Talk to
coffee.
me after I wrestle. I'll do anything.
What do you think, Chris?
I did it like this. I did it like that. I did it with the wiffle ball bat. So yeah, Beastie Boys, and for me, Redman. I love
Okay.
Redman's later work. Redman and Meth. It's specific. Again, I know it's kind of hard not to combine the guy, but ODB's career outside of Wu-Tang was just too short, unfortunately. So I would go Redman. Plus, he's hilarious. He's from New Jersey Devil fan. So gotta go with my boy.
Got me choked up on that one. Yeah, I can't vote against ODB. That's just too hard. That's just too hard. I just found that tune.
Hey, that's crazy. Same, Tom, same. So I was like reading it, and I was thinking about I love Redman, but that's ODB, man. Come on.
Oh well, if you know, yeah. Well, Wu-Tang that's hard for me to pull against. And I'll tell you this: you can't play anything on the air because you get pulled down. Because creators should get paid. I'm okay with that. I don't cry about it too awful much. But I don't know how I didn't know this song existed. But ODB's on it and is Old Man. Have you heard Old Man? It's a remix of the Sanford and Son theme. I'm not kidding. It is so freaking great, dude. It is ODB and Master Killa. It's on Master Killa's album.
Okay, I'm gonna look this up when I get off of here.
And RZA is on it too. So it's
Yes.
Wu-Tang legends here. Old Man, it is freaking great. When your grandmother knows the rap song because it's Sanford and Son, that just makes it better. So rest in peace, ODB. Gone way too soon.
Have you heard J. Cole's latest project?
I have not. Phil's a big J. Cole guy, and I've not checked it out yet. How is it?
So I'm gonna send you one song off there. Now I think the whole project is phenomenal. I don't think anybody is rapping on this level today. But yeah, I'm gonna send you one song off of there, and it's pretty much gonna be like the type of time he's on. It's crazy.
Awesome. Glad. I'll be anxious to hear it. Who will be the wild?
Talking about that J. Cole album? It's pretty good.
Is
Yes,
it?
sir.
It's pretty good.
Who will be the wild card Owen Hart Cup? Who is the wild card? I don't know. Do we have a prediction?
Jay White.
Why not Jay White?
I hope so.
Right? Why not Jay White? Chad also asks, any update on Keith Lee? Man, I don't know, dude. Like, I'd love to see Keith back in the ring. I have no idea what's going on with this guy, man.
Much like Sammy Guevara, shrouded in controversy of whether he is actually hurt or not hurt or just having contract disputes, as far as everything I have heard from multiple sources. So he was suffering from long-term COVID. He is part of a lawsuit against the WWE related to their COVID protocols. So I don't know. Some of it may be health related. He has been pulled from multiple shows, but at the same time, one of the guys we talked about a couple weeks ago, Miro, pulled for seemingly injuries that weren't really injuries. Same with Sammy Guevara's weird suspension. So, we know about NDAs and stuff in AEW, so I don't know that we'll ever get that answer, whether Keith Lee shows up tomorrow or never wrestles again in AEW.
And I'll say this about Khan. I respect the fact, and this is the guy that put Punk footage on TV. But for the most part, he doesn't air dirty laundry. I mean, he just won't. He will not answer questions. He wouldn't even talk about Punk for the longest time. Like, again, footage shouldn't have been on TV, right? But like, I kind of like that we don't really know. Like, and when the stuff happened with Brody Lee, rest in peace, Brody Lee, it was none of our business. We all wanted to know, but like, I respect the fact that company came together and like circled the wagons. We're not talking about this. This is the family's business. I respect that.
That's a little bit different than someone just, being off TV with an injury for, a year.
That's fair. But it does feel like there's
someone having health issues and passing away, being done respectfully is very different than people that potentially have already had issues with contracts in the past with other companies. having an injury that no one saw on TV that no one will talk about.
It's weird, right?
So I get what you're saying, and from all accounts, Tony Khan seems to be like a good guy. But there's two sides to every story. I'm sure as the years roll by, we will hear more and more. It may not even be a Tony Khan thing. This is a conglomeration of all of the things that the Khan family owns. So he is not while he is the technical owner of this company, there are more hands involved from an accounting standpoint and lawyer standpoint than we probably even know about on paper, I would think.
And plus, I'm sure there's people exist that I'm not entirely right about this, but we don't often hear so-and-so's writing a scathing tell-all about how AEW's the worst place ever. We don't hear about, I'm not saying it won't happen, but they've been around for 5 years, and we only get little tiny sound bites of people who weren't happy. And that's really all we get.
Well, we got NDAs, brother. We've had multiple people talk about those.
Yeah, but how long does NDA last? Do you sign? I mean, does NDA last for the rest of your life on the planet? I don't know.
It depends on the compensation for the non-disclosure, right?
Yeah. I know a couple of things that I can't.
Not to get too into the weeds about the Vince McMahon lawsuit, but that is part of what is going on with the filing that Vince McMahon's lawyer put back out, is that there was an NDA signed about their relationship. You were supposed this amount of money. You started talking about it. Therefore, you broke the non-disclosure agreement. Therefore, you null and void. That's why we stopped paying you, which has led to the situation that Vince McMahon is in. So that's usually how those things work. That's a good example that you can go and read. So like if Punk would have, for instance, on Pat McAfee talked about the full NDAs that he signed, he would have been in violation of whatever payment that he would have been given per the termination of his contract, would be my guess. Not to get, too lawyer up in here, but
yeah, well, that's a whole other topic too with that guy over there for sure. Well, I'm not trying to end on a down note or anything. I'm just up against the wall on the time, so I got to go. Hey, look, kids, thanks so much for tuning. It's a weird way to end it. Lawyers, what are you going to do? Am I right? We'll see you next week. Sorry. So let me tell my guests, thanks for being here. Brino, before we leave, tell the good people where they can find you on the social media.
Okay, Facebook at Brino Royce, Instagram also Brino Royce, and Twitter also Brino Royce. Super easy to find me. And a bonus is I have all of my teeth. Unlike all independent wrestlers, I can speak. I'll make your show look prettier. Matter of fact, tonight, I'm sorry, I wasn't even gonna go full Brino mode. You never go
do it,
Brino, but now I must, because tonight at 122 Builders Court, APW, I am the United States champion, and I am defending that championship against a former champion out there. Name is Jet Morris. I don't really care for him. I think he's got a bad back, and I'm gonna remind him why he should never ever. I keep forgetting you can't curse on here. But like every time I get into it,
oh man,
it ain't gonna be
put
good
a swear
for
jar.
Back.
We'll have to have like a digital swear jar that every time you curse, you got to hit PayPal and put some money into it. So,
I would. I absolutely would.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I'll
kids.
Just send you $20 before the show comes on.
Oh, just to pay up front, yeah, and then we'll have a ticker counting it down. So, kids, if you're in the region and can see Brino tonight, you'll get your money's worth for sure. Go check him out. Chris, before we leave, tell everybody where you are, sir.
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. If you want to hit me on Twitter, it's at Chris R. Patton on Twitter and X, Facebook, Instagram is Christopher.R.Patton. And Brino, lock that man in the Boston Crab forever. Forever.
You know what? That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to make sure I send you the footage so we can talk about it on the next one.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
I got to figure out something else cool to call it before tonight, though.
Yeah, you got to signature your own. You got to put your own spin on it, man.
I know it might be the Goldie Lock or something. We're going to see.
Yeah, there you go. Well, thanks again, guys, for hanging out. Don't go anywhere. I appreciate both of you very much, and we'll see you around later. So, kids, that was Brino. That was Chris. And I'm Tom. What's up? We went 2 hours. I'm exhausted. I need a nap. I'm not old. I told you I am in my prime. I'm vintage, right? Anyway, what's up? I'm getting out of here. I got to go do some stuff now on the road, on the open road. You know where you can find me, kids. BoinkStudios.com, B-O-I-N-K, BoinkStudios.com. You'll find links to this show, Tom Clark 6M Podcast, and Two Nations Entertainment, Ted Lasso Podcast. So thanks again for joining us, folks. I know that we were coming back on Saturdays, and now it looks like it might be Fridays. I told you it wasn't set in stone, and just stay tuned. For those of you who did, you're happy because you got to see us. Congratulations. Good for you. So thanks for sticking around. All right. But again, folks, just stay tuned for us. We'll let you know when we're coming back. I just about to say we'll be a week from today. I will start letting you know probably about early next week, midweek, but you should see us a week from today. Thanks again very much for hanging out with us today, kids. We appreciate it. Have yourself a great weekend. Have a great, happy, and healthy and safe 4th of July. We'll see you around next time. And kids, thanks for following and subscribing. We'll see you later, folks.